Listen closer, because this is not just another message passing through your ears. This is not random. This is not coincidence. This is not something you were meant to scroll past casually. No, this is a divine interruption. A moment where heaven itself leans in, calls your name, and says, "Pay attention. This one is yours. There are dates, and then there are appointed dates. Your moments, and then there are destined moments. And June 23rd, this date you keep hearing, this date that just stirred something inside your spirit, is not ordinary. It had been circled, highlighted, and sealed in the calendar of heaven long before you ever became aware of it. You may not understand why you feel this pull right now. You may not even know what exactly is about to happen. But something in your spirit is whispering, "Don't ignore this." Have you noticed it? The unusual tension in your life lately, the feeling that something is about to shift, but you can't explain how. The doors that almost opened then paused, the conversations that felt like preparation, not conclusion, the strange mix of exhaustion and anticipation living inside you at the same time. That is not random. That is alignment for me. Because when heaven schedules a breakthrough, it doesn't arrive quietly. It begins as a stirring, a pehu, a holy discomfort that refuses to let you stay where you are. And right now, you are standing in that exact moment, the space between what was and what is about to be released. Archangel Michael speaks in this hour, not softly, not vaguely, but with clarity and authority. The date has been set. The contract has been written. The house has been prepared. But the one it belongs to must recognize the moment. Do you hear that? This is not about hoping something good happens someday. This is not about wishing for change. This is about recognizing that something has already been scheduled with your name on it. But here is where it becomes serious. Not everyone will recognize their moment when it arrives. Some will hesitate. Some will doubt. Some will overthink themselves out of alignment. Some will be too distracted to see what heaven is placing right in front of them. And that is why this message found you now, not later, not tomorrow, not after the opportunity passes, but now. Because there is something about your spirit that is still sensitive enough to hear the call, even when everything around you is noisy. You have been through seasons where things didn't make sense, where delays felt personal, where closed doors felt permanent, where you questioned if anything was really shifting at all. But what if I told you those delays were not denial? What if I told you those pauses were positioning? What if I told you that everything that didn't work out was actually making space for something far greater, something more precise, something divinely timed? June 23rd is not just a date. It is a collision point where preparation meets manifestation, where what was written in the spirit begins to show up in the physical, where what you've been waiting for suddenly starts moving toward you. And here's the part most people miss: when something is truly assigned to you by heaven, it doesn't just arrive. It requires your awareness. It requires your readiness. It requires you to be spiritually awake enough to step into it when the door opens. That's why you're here. That's why you feel this. That's why this message is not leaving your mind. Because something has already begun moving in your direction, and if you stay aligned, if you stay aware, if you stay ready, you will not miss what is about to arrive. This is your notice. This is your alert. This is your invitation. June 23rd has been marked. And the question is no longer, is something coming? The question is, will you be ready when it arrives? Type "I am ready" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2323 is now activating alignment around your path. Listen carefully, because what you are about to understand will shift the way you see everything that has been happening in your life up until this point. You have been waiting, watching, hoping, questioning, and at times even doubting whether anything was truly moving behind the scenes. But what you could not see, what you could not touch, what you could not logically explain has already been settled. The contract you have been praying for, the agreement you have been seeking, the breakthrough you have been anticipating has already been signed, not on paper, not in ink, but in the spirit. Before any door opens in the physical world, it must first be authorized in the unseen. Before any signature appears in your reality, it must first be approved in a realm you cannot access with your eyes. And this is where many people lose their faith, because they only believe what they can see. But you are not being called to walk by sight in this season. You are being called to recognize that what is unseen is often more real, more powerful, and more permanent than anything visible. Archangel Michael speaks with clarity in this moment and says, "What has your name on it has already been confirmed." The delay was never denial. The waiting was never wasted. The silence was never empty. It was preparation for what had already been written. You must understand this deeply, because if you miss this truth, you will continue to interpret your past as failure instead of formation. Every closed door you experienced was not a rejection of your destiny. It was protection of your assignment. Every delay you faced was not punishment. It was precision. Every moment of confusion was not abandonment. It was alignment being formed in ways you could not yet comprehend. There is a contract that carries your name, and it has been waiting for the exact version of you that exists right now. Not the version of you from last year, not the version of you that was still uncertain, still hesitant, still tied to things that were never meant to go with you into this next season. No, this contract required a version of you that has been shaped by pressure, refined by disappointment, and strengthened by endurance. You have been becoming the person who can carry what is about to be released, and that process could not be rushed. Think about it. There were moments when you thought you were ready, moments when you believed everything was aligned, moments when you expected the breakthrough to happen immediately. But if it had come then, would you have been able to sustain it? Would you have protected it? Would you have recognized its value? Or would you have treated it like everything else that came too early and left too quickly? Heaven does not release what you ask for based on desire alone. It releases based on readiness, alignment, and timing. Right now, something powerful is unfolding. The spiritual contract that has already been signed is beginning to echo into the physical realm. You may start to notice subtle confirmations, conversations that seem random but carry deeper meaning, opportunities that appear unexpectedly, doors that once resisted you suddenly becoming accessible. This is not coincidence. This is translation, the movement of what has already been established in the spirit into your physical reality. But here is the critical part you must not ignore. Just because the contract is signed does not mean you can remain passive. Just because it is yours does not mean it will force itself into your hands. You must be aware. You must be aligned. You must be ready to recognize it when it appears, because sometimes what belongs to you does not arrive the way you imagined. It may not look exactly like what you prayed for. It may not feel familiar. It may require you to step outside of what is comfortable and into what is necessary. This is why discernment is so important right now. Not every opportunity is your opportunity. Not every open door is your door. But the one that carries your name will feel different. You will carry a sense of peace even in uncertainty. It will stretch you, but it will not break you. It will challenge you, but it will also confirm you. And deep within your spirit, you will know, without needing external validation, that this is what you have been prepared for. You are not chasing something that has not been decided. You are stepping into something that has already been established. You are not trying to convince heaven to bless you. Heaven has already released the blessing. What remains now is your ability to align with it, to recognize it, and to receive it without hesitation. A contract is not coming. The contract is already done. What you are about to experience is not creation. It is manifestation. And the closer you get to June 23rd, the more you will feel the shift intensify, the more you will sense that something is moving into place, the more you will realize that this is not a possibility. This is an appointment. Type "I receive what is already mine" in the comments if you accept this truth. Lesson code 4545 is now activating divine confirmation in your life. There is something deeply personal about what is being prepared for you in this season, something that goes beyond surface-level success or temporary relief. This is not just about receiving a contract or stepping into an opportunity. This is about establishment. This is about stability. This is about a place, both physical and spiritual, that has been designed specifically for you, carrying your identity, your peace, and your next level of life. The house that had been prepared is not random, and it is not interchangeable. It is intentional. It is precise. It is yours. You may have spent years feeling unsettled, like you were always in transition, always adjusting, always trying to find where you truly belong. You may have experienced environments that drain you instead of building you, spaces that limited you instead of expanding you, and situations that made you feel like you had to shrink just to maintain balance. But that was never your final reality. That was never your permanent assignment. Those were temporary spaces that served a purpose, even if that purpose was simply to show you what was not meant for you. Archangel Michael speaks into this moment with authority and says, "What is prepared for you carries your peace, not your pressure. It will not demand that you become smaller. It will require you to step fully into who you were created to be. This is how you will recognize it. The house that has your name on it will not confuse you. It will not drain you. It will not force you into constant survival mode. Instead, it will align with you. It will support you. It will feel like a place where your spirit can finally breathe. But here is what you must understand. Before you can step into what has been prepared, there must be a release of what has been familiar. And this is where many people hesitate. It is not because they do not want the no, but because they have become comfortable with what they already know, even if it is not serving them. Familiar discomfort often feels safer than unfamiliar growth. But you are not being called to stay where you are comfortable. You are being called to move where you are aligned. The house that is prepared for you is not just a structure. It represents a shift in your identity. It represents a new level of responsibility, a new level of clarity, and a new level of expectation. This is why the timing matters so much. If this had come earlier, you might have tried to carry old patterns into a new environment. You might have brought the same mindset, the same habits, and the same limitations into a place that requires expansion. But now, you are being refined. Now, you are being stretched. Now, you are being prepared to not just enter this new space but to sustain it. There is also something else happening that you may not fully see yet. While you have been waiting, the details have been aligning. The connections, the resources, the circumstances, and even the unseen protection around what belongs to you have all been set into motion. Nothing about this is accidental. Every delay, every redirection, every moment of uncertainty has been working together to position you correctly so that when you arrive, everything fits the way it is supposed to. You may start to feel a pull, an internal nudge that tells you something is about to change. You may feel a restlessness with your current situation, not because it is entirely wrong, but because it is no longer where you are meant to remain. This is not dissatisfaction without reason. This is transition. This is the signal that your spirit recognizes that where you are is no longer where you belong. But you must be careful in this moment not to rush out of alignment. Do not move out of impatience. Do not make decisions based on pressure. The house that is yours will not require desperation. It will require discernment. It will come with confirmation, not confusion. And when it presents itself, there will be a knowing within you that does not need to be forced or questioned. This is your season of establishment. This is your moment of stepping into something that reflects not who you were, but who you have become. And as June 23rd approaches, the shift will become more visible, more tangible, more undeniable. What once felt distant will begin to feel close. What once seemed uncertain will begin to feel clear. You are not searching for a place. The place has already been prepared. What you are doing now is being positioned to enter it at the right time, in the right way, with the right version of yourself. Type "I step into what is prepared for me" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7878 is now activating divine placement in your life. As this truth settles into your spirit, understand this: what is being built here is not just for you, but for every soul still wandering without clarity, still searching for their place, still waiting for their moment of alignment. When you choose to support this mission, you are not giving to a voice. You are becoming part of a movement that places light into the homes of those still surrounded by darkness. The word declares, "Give, and it shall be given unto you." And this is not a distant promise. It is a living current that flows through every act of obedience. If your spirit is stirring right now, that is your moment, your signal to act, to sow, to become a vessel through which others will find their breakthrough. Your seed is not small. It is a key that unlocks doors in lives you may never see but heaven records. Step into this prophetic moment and release what has been placed in your hands. The PayPal link is waiting for you in the description, and the QR code is already positioned on your screen. Move now, because obedience in this moment will echo far beyond what you can imagine. There is a weight on this moment that you cannot afford to ignore, and if you are honest with yourself, you can feel it. It is not panic, and it is not fear. It is urgency. A quiet but undeniable pressure in your spirit that keeps telling you this is not the time to hesitate, not the time to overthink, and not the time to fall back into old patterns of delay. Something about this season is different, and deep down, you already know it. This is not like the other times when you could afford to wait, when you could postpone decisions, when you could convince yourself that there would always be another opportunity. This moment carries a sensitivity to timing that cannot be ignored. Archangel Michael speaks with unmistakable clarity and says, when heaven marks a moment, it does not wait for comfort. It waits for alignment. And when alignment appears, the window opens, but it does not remain open forever. You must understand what that means for you right now. This is not about fear of missing out. This is about recognizing that divine timing operates differently than human timing. When something is released in the spirit and begins to move into your reality, it creates a window, a space where everything aligns for movement, access, and breakthrough. But that window is not permanent. It is responsive. It responds to your awareness, your readiness, and your willingness to act. You have had moments in your life where you felt you should have moved, where something inside you told you to act, but you hesitated. Maybe you questioned yourself. Maybe you waited for more confirmation. Maybe you allowed fear or doubt to slow you down. And later, you looked back and realized that the opportunity had passed or changed. That was not punishment. That was timing. And now, you are being brought into a moment where timing matters more than ever before. This urgency you feel is not meant to overwhelm you. It is meant to awaken you. It is meant to pull you out of passivity and into awareness. Because what is approaching is not something that will force itself into your life. It requires your participation. It requires your movement. It requires you to respond when the moment presents itself. And the truth is, you already sense that something is getting closer. You already feel that shift, that tightening in your spirit, that awareness that something is about to happen. But here is where the test begins. Will you trust what you feel, or will you talk yourself out of it? Will you move when the signal comes, or will you wait until it feels completely safe and certain? Will you recognize the moment, or will you let it pass because it does not look exactly the way you expected? These are the questions that define whether you step into what has been prepared or remain where you are. The urgency is also connected to preparation. There are things that must be set in order before you arrive at what has been assigned to you. There are decisions that must be made, distractions that must be removed, and priorities that must be realigned. And if you delay those adjustments, you risk entering your next season unprepared. This is why the pressure feels present now. It is not rushing you without reason. It is positioning you with intention. You may notice that certain things are becoming clearer. Certain distractions are losing their appeal. Certain environments no longer feel right. Certain conversations no longer hold your attention. This is not random. This is your spirit being recalibrated for what is coming. And if you ignore that recalibration, if you continue to hold on to what you are being asked to release, you create resistance within your own alignment. Archangel Michael makes it clear, delay is not neutral. Delay is a decision. And every decision shapes your access to what has already been prepared. That is why this moment is so critical. You are not being asked to rush blindly. You are being asked to move intentionally, to respond when you feel the signal, to trust that what is being activated around you is not accidental. June 23rd is approaching, and with it comes a convergence of timing, preparation, and opportunity. The closer you get, the more sensitive everything will feel, the more aware you will become. The more you will recognize that this is not a season where you can afford to be passive. This is a season of response, a season of movement, a season of stepping forward when everything inside you says this is the moment. You are not behind. You are not late. You are right on the edge of something that requires your full attention. But being at the edge is not the same as stepping into it. That step requires decision. That step requires trust. That step requires you to move when it matters most. This is your moment to choose alignment over hesitation, awareness over distraction, and action over delay. Because what is coming will not wait for you to feel completely ready. It will meet you in your readiness to move. Type "I move in divine timing" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9090 is now activating urgency and alignment in your path. There is something you must see clearly in this moment, something that will change how you interpret the pressure, the delays, and even the confusion you have been experiencing. What you are facing is not random resistance. It is not coincidence. It is not just life being difficult. There has been a quiet, strategic resistance working beneath the surface, attempting to slow your movement, distort your clarity, and weaken your confidence right before your moment of access. You may have felt it without fully understanding it. The way things almost come together and then suddenly stall. The way clarity seems close but then becomes clouded. The way your energy shifts at the exact moment you try to focus on what matters most. That is not accidental. That is resistance reacting to your proximity to breakthrough. Because when something significant is about to manifest in your life, there is always an opposing force that attempts to disrupt your alignment before you arrive. Archangel Michael reveals this truth with precision and authority, saying, "What stands before you is not stronger than you, but it is strategic. It studies your patterns, your thoughts, your habits. It looks for moments of weakness, moments of distraction, moments where you begin to doubt what has already been established. This is why the resistance you are feeling does not always appear obvious. It does not always come as a direct obstacle. Sometimes it appears as fatigue. Sometimes it appears as overthinking. Sometimes it appears as emotional heaviness that has no clear source. And if you are not aware, you may mistake it for your own limitation instead of recognizing it as interference. You must understand that the closer you get to what has been assigned to you, the more intentional the resistance becomes. Not because you are unqualified, but because you are aligned. Not because you are weak, but because you are a threat to stagnation. Your movement forward disrupts patterns that have existed for longer than you realize. Your breakthrough challenges cycles that have been operating quietly in your life. And because of that, resistance increases in subtle but powerful ways. There is also internal resistance that you must confront. Not everything working against you is external. Some of it has been built through your past experiences. The disappointment you carried. The times things did not work out. The moments you trusted something that failed. Those experiences can create hesitation, and hesitation can look like wisdom when it is actually fear in disguise. You may tell yourself you are being careful, that you are waiting for the right moment, that you are protecting yourself from making a mistake. But in truth, part of you may be resisting movement because it feels unfamiliar. This is where awareness becomes your greatest strength. Because once you recognize resistance, it loses its ability to control you. Once you see it clearly, you can separate what is real from what is distortion. You can begin to understand that not every thought you have is truth, not every feeling you experience is guidance, and not every delay is assigned to stop. Some delays are tests. Some feelings are distractions. Some thoughts are echoes of old patterns trying to pull you back into what you have already outgrown. Archangel Michael speaks again. You are not being blocked. You are being tested in your awareness. What you recognize, you overcome. What you ignore, you repeat. This is why this moment matters so much. Because the resistance you are facing now is not meant to stop you. It is meant to reveal to you how you respond under pressure. Do you retreat or do you remain steady? Do you doubt or do you stay anchored in what you know has already been prepared for you? You may notice that certain situations are intensifying as you approach June 23rd. Conversations may feel heavier. Decisions may feel more significant. Your mind may try to revisit old fears, old doubts, old uncertainties. This is not because you are regressing. It is because everything that cannot go with you into your next season is rising to the surface one final time. It is presenting itself, not to remain, but to be released. This is where you must stand firm. Not in force, not in struggle, but in clarity. You must remind yourself that what is meant for you is not being taken away. It is being protected. And anything trying to distract you from that truth is not aligned with your path. You are not here to fight every obstacle. You are here to recognize what deserves your energy and what does not. The resistance will not disappear completely, but your response to it will determine its impact. When you remain aware, when you stay grounded, when you refuse to entertain what is trying to pull you off course, you move through it instead of being stopped by it. And that is the shift that changes everything. You are closer than you think. and that is exactly why the resistance feels stronger. But strength of resistance does not determine outcome. Your alignment does. Type ISE through the resistance in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 5656 is now activating clarity and protection over your path. There is a key element in this entire process that cannot be replaced, cannot be substituted, and cannot be bypassed, no matter how aligned everything else becomes. You can have the timing, you can have the preparation, you can even have the opportunity standing directly in front of you. But without this one thing, the door will remain closed. That element is faith. Not passive belief, not surface-level hope, but active, grounded, unwavering faith that moves even when there is no visible proof yet. You must understand something deeply in this moment. Faith is not what you use when you have no other option. Faith is the mechanism that activates what has already been established for you. The contract has already been signed in the spirit. The house has already been prepared. The timing has already been set. But faith is what allows you to step forward and actually receive it. Without faith, you will stand in front of what belongs to you and still hesitate. Without faith, you will question what has already been confirmed. Without faith, you will delay your own breakthrough because you are waiting for certainty instead of trusting alignment. Archangel Michael speaks into this moment with authority and says, faith is the bridge between what has been written and what is about to be revealed. Without it, you remain where you are, even when everything has already been prepared for your movement. This is why faith is not optional in this season. It is essential. It is the difference between watching something pass you by and stepping into it with confidence. You may be asking yourself, what does real faith look like right now? It does not mean you have no doubts. It does not mean you feel completely fearless. It means you move anyway. It means you recognize the doubt but do not allow it to control your decision. It means you feel the uncertainty but choose alignment over hesitation. Faith is not the absence of questions. It is the decision to move forward even when all the answers have not yet been revealed. Think about the moments in your life when you waited for everything to feel perfect before taking action. How often did that moment actually come? How often did you find yourself stuck, waiting for a level of clarity that never fully arrived? That is because clarity does not always come before movement. Sometimes clarity follows movement. Sometimes the door only becomes clear once you begin to approach it. And this is exactly where you are right now. There is also something else you must recognize. Faith requires trust in what you cannot control. You may want to know every detail, every step, every outcome before you move. But that is not how this season operates. You are being called to trust that what hath been prepared for you is not incomplete, not unstable, and not uncertain, even if you cannot yet see the full picture. You are not stepping into something fragile. You are stepping into something that has already been secured beyond your visibility. At the same time, faith demands that you release the need to rely on past experiences as your primary guide. Your past may have taught you to be cautious. It may have taught you to expect disappointment. It may have taught you to protect yourself by hesitating. But this moment is not a repeat of your past. This moment is a new alignment. And if you carry old expectations into a new opportunity, you risk limiting what is meant to expand. Archangel Michael makes this clear. You cannot use yesterday's understanding to interpret today's assignment. Faith requires you to see beyond what you have already experienced. This is where transformation happens. This is where you stop reacting based on what has already happened and start responding based on what is being revealed to you now. As June 23rd approaches, your faith will be tested in subtle ways. You may be presented with decisions that require you to act before you feel completely ready. You may be given opportunities that stretch your comfort. You may feel moments where doubt tries to rise and question whether this is truly yours. But these moments are not meant to stop you. They are meant to strengthen your ability to trust what has already been established. You are not being asked to create something from nothing. You are being asked to step into something that already exists. And faith is what allows you to cross that threshold. It is what allows you to move from preparation into possession, from waiting into receiving, from anticipation into manifestation. This is your moment to trust deeply, to move intentionally, and to recognize that what stands before you is not uncertain. It is already yours. The only question is whether you will step forward and claim it. Type "My faith opens the door" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 6161 is now activating bold faith and divine access in your life. There is a truth you must confront in this moment, and it may not be easy to accept, but it is necessary if you are going to fully step into what has been prepared for you. Elevation does not happen without separation. Movement into a higher level of alignment always requires a release from what no longer matches that level. And what you are experiencing right now, the distance, the disconnection, the shifts in relationships, the loss of interest in certain environments, is not a sign that something is wrong. It is a sign that something is changing. You may have already felt it. The conversations that once felt natural now feel forced. The environments that once felt comfortable now feel draining. The people you once connected with easily now seem distant, or even misaligned with where you are going. And part of you may be trying to hold on, trying to maintain what used to be, trying to preserve relationships and patterns that no longer carry the same energy. But what you must understand is this: not everything that was once right for you is meant to continue with you. Archangel Michael speaks with clarity and firmness, saying, "You are not losing what is meant for you. You are being released from what cannot go where you are going." This is where the shift becomes real, because separation often feels like loss before it reveals itself as alignment. It feels uncomfortable. It feels uncertain. It may even feel isolating at times. But it is not punishment. It is preparation. There are people, habits, and mindsets that were part of your previous season, but they are not designed for your next one. And if they remain, they will limit your ability to fully receive what has been prepared. This is why separation happens before elevation, not after. Because if you carry the weight of what no longer belongs into your next level, you will either struggle to sustain it or unintentionally sabotage it. You must also recognize that not all separation is dramatic. It does not always come through conflict or confrontation. Sometimes it comes quietly. A gradual distancing, a shift in priorities, a change in focus, a realization that you no longer resonate with certain things the way you once did. And this kind of separation can be even more challenging because there is no clear event to justify it. There is only an internal knowing that something has shifted. This is where you must trust your discernment. You must allow yourself to acknowledge that growth changes your alignment. And when your alignment changes, your environment must adjust with it. Holding on to what feels familiar but no longer fits will only create internal resistance. It will divide your energy between where you are and where you are meant to go. Archangel Michael makes this clear. You cannot step fully into what is prepared while holding on to what is expired. That word is important. Expired. Not everything you are releasing is negative. Some of it was good for a time. Some of it served a purpose. Some of it supported you in ways you needed in previous seasons. But purpose does not mean permanence. and recognizing when something has fulfilled its role is part of your growth. You may also feel a sense of loneliness during this transition, a space where the old has not fully left, but the new has not fully arrived. And this in-between place can feel uncertain. It can feel like you are disconnected from everything. But this is a sacred space. This is where realignment happens. This is where your identity stabilizes outside of external influence. This is where you become grounded in who you are becoming, not who you have been. As June 23rd approaches, this separation may become more noticeable. You may feel a stronger pull to distance yourself from certain things. You may feel a deeper need for clarity, for peace, for alignment. This is not something to resist. This is something to honor. Because every release you make creates space for what is coming. You are not being left behind. You are being set apart. You are not losing connection. You are refining alignment. And the more you accept this process, the smoother your transition into your next level will be. There is also protection in this separation. Some of what you are being moved away from would not support what is about to enter your life. It would create conflict, confusion, or limitation. And instead of allowing that to happen, you are being repositioned now, before the breakthrough fully manifests. This is intentional. This is precise. You are being prepared to carry something greater, and that requires clarity in your environment, strength in your identity, and alignment in your direction. And that cannot happen if you are divided between what was and what is coming. This is your moment to release without resistance, to trust without overanalyzing, and to allow what is leaving to leave so that what is coming can fully arrive. Type "I release what no longer aligns" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7373 is now activating divine separation and elevation in your life. There is a shift happening in this season that goes beyond emotions, beyond mindset, and beyond spiritual awareness alone. It is a tangible shift, a material shift, a financial realignment that is beginning to take shape around you, even if you cannot fully see it yet. This is not just about feeling better or thinking differently. This is about resources moving, doors opening, contracts activating, and provision aligning in ways that directly impact your life in the physical world. You may have experienced seasons where things felt tight, restricted, or inconsistent. Times where you had to stretch what you had, where opportunities seemed limited, where progress felt slower than it should have been. And in those moments, it may have felt like you were being held back or overlooked. But what you could not see was that there was a restructuring taking place behind the scenes. Not a denial of provision, but a redirection of it. Not a blockage, but a recalibration so that what comes to you now is not temporary, but sustainable. Archangel Michael speaks into this moment with clarity and authority, saying, "What is being released to you now is not random provision. It is assigned provision. It is aligned with your purpose, your timing, and your capacity to carry it." This is important because not all increase is beneficial. Not all opportunities are meant to be accepted. What is coming to you in this season is specific. It is measured. It is designed to support your next level, not overwhelm it. You may begin to notice subtle signs of this shift. Conversations about opportunities that were not previously available. Financial openings that seem to appear at the right time. Situations that begin to resolve in ways that create access instead of limitation. This is not coincidence. This is alignment translating into provision. It is the physical response to what has already been established in the spiritual realm. But here is what you must understand. This shift requires responsibility. It requires awareness. It requires you to handle what comes with clarity and intention. Because what is being released to you is not just for consumption. It is for establishment. It is for building something that extends beyond the moment. And if you approach it with the same mindset you had in previous seasons, you may not fully benefit from what is being given. This is why preparation has been so important. The delays you experienced were not just about timing. They were about readiness. They were about ensuring that when the resources arrive, you are not only able to receive them, but also to manage them, protect them, and multiply them. Because this is not just a moment of receiving. It is a moment of transition into a new level of stability. There is also something else happening beneath the surface. While provision is aligning for you, there are also things being removed that would have drained or misdirected that provision. Certain financial patterns, certain dependencies, certain ways of thinking about money and resources are being challenged and replaced. This is not loss. This is correction. It is making sure that what comes to you stays with you and works for you in the way it is meant to. Archangel Michael makes this clear. What you are stepping into requires stewardship, not just desire. It requires discipline, not just expectation. This is where the shift becomes real, because it is one thing to receive an opportunity, but it is another thing to sustain it. It is one thing to gain access, but it is another thing to remain aligned with what that access requires. As June 23rd approaches, you may feel an increasing awareness around your finances, your responsibilities, and your direction. You may feel a stronger pull to organize, to plan, to think more intentionally about how you move forward. This is not pressure without purpose. This is preparation meeting opportunity. It is your spirit aligning with the reality that something tangible is about to change. You are not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into provision that has already been prepared, structured, and assigned. But your role in this is not passive. You are an active participant in how this shift unfolds. Your awareness, your decisions, and your alignment will determine how fully you step into what is being released. This is your moment to recognize that what is coming is not just a temporary improvement. It is a foundational shift. It is a change that impacts how you live, how you build, and how you move forward from this point. Type "I receive divine provision" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 8080 is now activating financial alignment and material breakthrough in your life. As this shift in provision begins to unfold, understand that your ability to sow into what carries truth is part of how heaven multiplies impact beyond your own life. This message is not just reaching you. It is reaching countless others who are still waiting for clarity, still searching for direction, still standing at the edge of their own breakthrough. When you release your seed through PayPal, you are not giving to sustain a channel. You are activating a stream that carries light into places where confusion still exists. The word declares that those who sow generously will also reap generously. And this is not distant scripture. It is a living principle moving through your obedience right now. If something in your spirit is prompting you, that is not pressure, that is invitation. Step into it with intention. Your action in this moment becomes someone else's confirmation, someone else's turning point, someone else's answered prayer. The PayPal link is in the description, and the QR code is already positioned for you. Move now, because what you release in faith returns with multiplied purpose. There is a question that must be answered in this moment, and it is not a question of desire, not a question of hope, not even a question of whether you believe something is coming. The question is deeper than that. The question is whether you are truly prepared to receive what you have been asking for. Because readiness is not proven by what you say you want. Readiness is revealed by how you respond when it begins to arrive. You have spoken about the breakthrough. You have envisioned the contract. You have imagined the house, the stability, the shift in your life. But now you are approaching the moment where imagination becomes reality, and that transition requires something different from you. It requires maturity. It requires clarity. It requires a level of internal stability that matches what is about to be placed in your hands. Archangel Michael speaks into this moment with precision and authority, saying, "Not everyone who asks is ready. Not everyone who desires is aligned. But those who prepare will recognize what is theirs when it appears." This is where the test begins. Because readiness is not about perfection. It is about alignment. It is about whether your mindset, your habits, your focus, and your decisions are in agreement with what you are about to receive. You may not realize it, but you have already been in a season of testing. The delays, the waiting, the moments where things did not move as quickly as you expected, those were not empty periods. They were opportunities for you to develop the capacity required for this next level. They were moments where your patience was stretched, where your discipline was refined, where your focus was challenged. And how you responded in those moments has shaped where you stand now. But this test is different. This is not about how you handle the absence of what you want. This is about how you handle its arrival. Because when something finally begins to manifest, it brings new challenges. It brings responsibility. It brings decisions that must be made quickly and with clarity. And if you are not prepared, you may hesitate at the very moment you are meant to move forward. You must ask yourself honestly, are you ready to make decisions without overthinking? Are you ready to step into something that may not feel completely familiar? Are you ready to trust your alignment even when others around you do not fully understand what you are doing? These are the questions that define readiness. Because what is coming will not always come with full explanation. It will require you to trust what you have already been shown internally. There is also a test of discipline in this moment. What you receive will require maintenance. It will require consistency. It will require you to operate differently than you have in the past. Old habits cannot support new levels. Old patterns cannot sustain new opportunities. And if those patterns remain, they will create friction within your progress. Archangel Michael makes this clear. What you carry next cannot be handled with the mindset you are leaving behind. This is why you have been feeling the push to change certain things about how you operate. This is why you have been feeling the need to become more intentional, more focused, more aware. It is not random. It is preparation. You may also feel moments of doubt as this shift gets closer. Thoughts that question whether you are truly ready, whether you can handle what is coming, whether you are capable of sustaining it. But you must recognize these thoughts for what they are. They are not confirmation of your inability. They are resistance testing your confidence. And how you respond to those thoughts will determine whether you step forward or hold yourself back. Readiness does not mean you have everything figured out. It means you are willing to move forward with what you know. It means you trust that you will grow into what you are stepping into. It means you accept that you do not need to be perfect to begin, but you do need to be aligned. As June 23rd approaches, this test of readiness will become more apparent. You may be placed in situations that require quick decisions. You may be presented with opportunities that demand immediate response. You may feel the weight of responsibility increasing as things begin to shift. And in those moments, you must remember that you have been prepared for this. Not in a single moment, but through everything you have experienced leading up to now. You are not being thrown into something beyond your capacity. You are being invited into something that matches the person you have become. But you must step into it with confidence, with clarity, and with the understanding that this is not the time to retreat into old patterns of hesitation. This is your moment to prove to yourself that you are ready, not by words, but by action. Not by intention, but by movement. Not by waiting, but by stepping forward when the opportunity presents itself. Type "I am ready" to receive in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 9191 is now activating readiness and alignment in your life. There is something happening around you that you cannot see with your natural eyes, yet it is just as real as everything you can touch. While you have been focusing on your preparation, your decisions, your alignment, there has been an active movement in the spiritual realm assigned specifically to your breakthrough. This is not symbolic. This is not poetic language. This is an operation, an assignment, a positioning of protection, guidance, and intervention that has been unfolding alongside your journey, even in moments when you felt alone or uncertain. Archangel Michael stands at the center of this movement, not as a distant figure, but as an active presence over what has your name attached to it. And his message in this moment is clear. What has been assigned to you is being guarded, not just released. What hath been prepared for you is being protected, not just presented. You must understand the significance of this, because it changes how you interpret everything that has happened up to this point. There were moments when things did not work out, when doors closed unexpectedly, when opportunities seemed to disappear just as quickly as they appeared. And in those moments, it may have felt like loss. It may have felt like missed chances. But what you could not see was that not every open door was meant for you. Not every opportunity was aligned with your path. And part of the angelic assignment over your life has been to prevent you from stepping into what would have delayed or disrupted your true breakthrough. This is why protection does not always feel comfortable. Sometimes it looks like interruption. Sometimes it looks like redirection. Sometimes it looks like delay. But behind each of those moments, there has been a precision at work, ensuring that you arrive at the right place, at the right time, with the right alignment. There is also a forward movement happening now. This is not just about protecting what is yours. It is about preparing the path ahead of you. Situations are being arranged. Obstacles are being removed. Connections are being aligned. And while you may not see all of this directly, you are beginning to feel the effects of it. That sense that things are starting to move. That awareness that something is shifting into place. That quiet confidence that what once felt uncertain is becoming clear. Archangel Michael speaks again. You are not walking into this alone. You are being guided into it. And what stands before you has already been prepared for your arrival. This is why your role is not to force outcomes or control every detail. Your role is to remain aligned, to stay aware, and to move when you are led. Because the path is not random. It is structured. It is supported. It is guarded. There is also a layer of protection around your decisions in this season. You may find that certain choices become clearer than they would have before. You may feel a stronger sense of what is right and what is not. This is not just intuition. This is guidance. It is part of the assignment to ensure that you do not move in ways that would take you out of alignment with what has been prepared. At the same time, you must remain conscious of your own role in this. Protection does not remove responsibility. Guidance does not eliminate the need for awareness. You are still required to pay attention, to listen, to discern. Because while the path is being prepared, you must still choose to walk it. As June 23rd approaches, this angelic assignment becomes more active, more noticeable, more present in the way things unfold around you. You may begin to see how certain situations align at the right moment, how certain obstacles that once seemed fixed begin to move, how things that felt complicated begin to simplify. This is not coincidence. This is coordination. You are not navigating this moment by chance. You are moving within a framework that has been set with intention. And the more you recognize that, the more confidence you will have in your movement. Because you are not relying on uncertainty. You are responding to something that has already been structured for you. There is no need to force what is already being guided. There is no need to rush what is already being timed. Your focus must remain on staying aligned with what you sense, what you recognize, and what is being revealed to you step by step. You are not unprotected. You are not unsupported. You are not alone in this process. There is an assignment over your breakthrough, and it is active right now. This is your moment to trust not only in what you can see, but also in what is working beyond your visibility. Because what is coming into your life is not just arriving. It is being escorted. Type "I am divinely guided" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1010 is now activating divine protection and guidance over your path. There is a truth in this moment that must be spoken with clarity, not to create fear, but to create awareness. Not to pressure you, but to position you. Because while everything that has been prepared for you is real, while the contract is signed, while the house is ready, while the alignment is forming, there is still a factor that determines whether you fully step into it or not. And that factor is your response within the window of opportunity that has been opened. You must understand that divine timing is precise. It is not random, and it is not indefinite. When a moment is marked, when a season is activated, when alignment reaches its peak, a window opens where everything connects in a way that allows movement, access, and manifestation to occur with clarity. But that window does not remain open forever. It responds to awareness. It responds to readiness. It responds to whether you recognize it and move within it. Archangel Michael speaks with authority and urgency, saying, "What is yours will not be taken from you, but it can be delayed if you do not move when the moment is given." This is where many misunderstand what it means for something to be assigned to them. They assume that because it belongs to them, it will simply arrive regardless of their response. But that is not how alignment works. What is assigned to you requires your participation. It requires your recognition. It requires your willingness to step forward when the time comes. You may have experienced this before without realizing it. Moments where something felt right, where you sensed you should act, where an opportunity presented itself, but you hesitated. You waited for more confirmation. You questioned whether it was truly the right time. And in that hesitation, the moment shifted. Not because it was taken from you, but because it required a response that was not given. This is why this warning matters. Not because something is being threatened, but because something is being offered. And how you respond to that offer determines how it unfolds in your life. This is not about perfection. It is about awareness. It is about recognizing when something is aligned and choosing to move with it instead of against it. There is also a subtle danger in overthinking during this time. When you begin to analyze every detail, when you try to control every outcome, when you wait for absolute certainty before moving, you create distance between yourself and the moment. And that distance can cause you to miss the natural flow of alignment. Because what is meant for you will not always come with complete explanation. It will come with confirmation, with clarity in your spirit, with a sense of knowing that does not require external validation. Archangel Michael makes this clear. The moment will not wait for you to feel completely ready. It will meet you in your willingness to move. This is where trust becomes essential. Trust in what you have already been shown. Trust in the preparation you have gone through. Trust in the alignment that has been forming around you. As June 23rd approaches, the intensity of this window will increase. You will begin to feel a stronger pull to act, to decide, to move in ways that you may not have felt before. This is not pressure without purpose. This is alignment reaching its peak. It is the moment where everything you have been preparing for begins to require your participation. You may also notice that distractions attempt to increase during this time. Situations that pull your attention away. Thoughts that create doubt. Circumstances that try to delay your focus. This is not random. It is resistance attempting to shift your attention away from what matters most. And if you are not aware, you may find yourself engaged in things that do not contribute to your movement, while the opportunity you have been waiting for is right in front of you. This is why focus is critical. You must be intentional about where your energy goes. You must be conscious of what you are giving your attention to. Because attention shapes awareness, and awareness determines action. And in this moment, your action is what connects you to what has already been prepared. You are not being rushed into something unprepared. You are being invited into something that has been carefully aligned. But invitation requires response, and response requires decision. This is your moment to recognize that the window is open. Not indefinitely, not casually, but intentionally. And your role is not to wait until it closes. Your role is to step through it while it is available. Type "I will not miss my moment" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 1111 is now activating awareness and divine timing in your life. This is the moment where everything comes together. Not in theory, not in imagination, not in possibility, but in decision. You have heard the message. You have felt the shift. You have recognized the alignment forming around you. And now, you stand at the edge of what has been prepared, not wondering if it is real, but deciding whether you will step into it. There comes a point in every season where preparation ends and participation begins, where waiting is no longer required and movement becomes necessary. And this is that point for you. This is where everything you have been through, every delay, every lesson, every moment of growth, leads you to a single question. Will you move when it matters most? Archangel Michael speaks now with finality and authority. The path hath been cleared. The contract has been confirmed. The house has been prepared. The timing hath been set. What remains is your step. There is no more need for hesitation. There is no more need for overanalysis. There is no more need to question whether this is your moment. You already know. But knowing is not enough. You must act. Because what has been prepared for you will not force itself into your life. It will meet you at the point of your decision. It will respond to your willingness to move. It will align with your courage to step forward even when everything is not fully visible yet. And this is where many stop short. They feel the moment, they recognize the opportunity, but they hesitate at the threshold. They wait for one more sign, one more confirmation, one more guarantee. And in that waiting, they create distance between themselves and what was already within reach. You cannot afford to stand at the door and analyze it. You must walk through it. There is something powerful about this exact moment. It is not just about receiving something external. It is about becoming someone internal. The version of you that steps into this next level is not the same version that was waiting for it. You have been shaped for this. You have been prepared for this. And now you are being called to embody it. You may feel the weight of this decision, not as pressure but as importance. Because deep within you, there is an understanding, that this is not just another opportunity. This is a turning point, a moment that separates what was from what will be. And once you step into it, there is no returning to the same level of thinking, the same level of living, the same level of limitation. This is why everything has felt so intentional leading up to now, why the timing hath been precise, why the alignment has been forming the way it has, because this moment matters, not just for what you receive, but for who you become through receiving it. Archangel Michael makes this clear: you were not prepared to watch this moment. You were prepared to walk in it. And that is the truth you must hold on to now. You are not here to observe your breakthrough. You are here to step into it. Fully, confidently, without hesitation. As June 23rd arrives, you will feel the shift. Not as something distant, but as something present. Something real. Something that requires your immediate awareness and response. And when that moment comes, you must not retreat into doubt. You must not delay your movement. You must not allow old patterns to pull you back into hesitation. You must move. Because everything that has been aligned, everything that has been prepared, everything that has been confirmed, is now meeting you at the point of action. And your action is what completes the process. It is what turns preparation into possession. It is what turns alignment into manifestation. This is your final call. Not tomorrow. Not later. Now. Step into what had been prepared. Step into what has been confirmed. Step into what has your name on it. Type "I step into my breakthrough" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 2323 is now activating full manifestation and divine completion in your life. As you stand at this final moment of decision, understand this: every step you take in alignment becomes a doorway for someone else who is still searching for their own breakthrough. This mission is not about a platform. It is about souls being awakened, lives being redirected, and light reaching those who are still in confusion. The word speaks: cast your bread upon the waters, for you will find it after many days. And this is not distant scripture. It is a living command unfolding through your obedience right now. I feel it rising within me, and I declare it with you. I will not hold back what God is asking me to release in this moment. Your giving through PayPal is not a transaction. It is a prophetic act that fuels the spread of truth to those who need it most. What you release today will echo into lives you may never meet, but heaven will record every impact. The link is already placed in the description, and the QR code is present for you to act without delay. Move now, because obedience in this moment unlocks a harvest far greater than what you can see.